I'd like to call the District of Chetwynd Council meeting to order. Can I have the opening statement read, please? Thank you. Prior to adoption of the agenda, is there any new business, councillors? Not seeing any staff. Okay, adoption of the agenda.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Vote on the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Minutes of the regular council meeting held on February 17th, 2026.
I'll second.
Any errors or omissions? Staff, councilors? Okay, on the motion, those in favor? Carried. We have no delegations. We'll get right into bylaws. Bylaw number 1, District of Chetwynd Revenue Anticipation Bylaw number 1188, 2026 requires adoption.
Second.
Any discussion?
I always ask this question to finance every year, just.
Yeah, without the bylaw, we can't borrow if we need to, and it's just revenue anticipation because we start our year in January, but our tax money doesn't come in until July. So if we were in a position where we needed to borrow before that revenue is in, this would allow us to do it. That's not our intention, but it's just without this bylaw, there's no option of us to do that.
And I always ask a question about the history. Have we ever used that?
That I don't know.
Well, we did borrow the money for the medical clinic, but that's different from this bylaw, so that's the only one I'm aware of.
That was years ago. Yep. Okay, thank you. Okay, on the motion, those in favor? Bylaw number 2, District of Chetwynd Water Fees, Charges and Regulation Bylaw number 1189, 2026 requires first, second, and third readings.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilor McDonald?
I'm just curious if there's been any changes to the fees and charges from the previous year?
Yes, I believe there has. Councilor McDonald? Good. Any other discussion? Vote on the motion. Okay, Councilor Nelson?
So it does seem a bit steep for a 10% increase. What are we normally increasing on an annual basis?
We have done 10% in the past. We've done 4%. There's been some years where we don't do anything, and then unfortunately we end up catching up the following year because the costs don't go down.
No, I do understand that, and we do need to balance our budget in some manner or other, but it's just always all the additional pressures on the residents kind of, it doesn't just weigh heavy on the residents, it weighs heavy on myself as well.
This was basically done to support the residents because this is how we brought our residential tax increase down significantly, because commercial water use wasn't paying for infrastructure, wasn't paying the actual real cost. So Crystal has done some just sterling work here to balance that out so that the cost is not borne by the residents as much as it would be if we had to do residential tax increases. It's, again, it's designed so that the commercial users pay more of what they should be paying. We didn't need it in the past because Canfor was such a huge user of water that the water was fundamentally paying for itself. But now it's not, so we have to adjust our rates so that the water is paying for itself.
Thanks for that clarification.
Offhand, I'm not sure on the total water cost, but was it like 22,000 a year? Is it, no?
So that is primarily what this increase is for. Canfor had a leak in their yard and their water consumption was, their revenue was $100,000 a year when that mill was running.
So the 10 that we're doing now is not really right because we lost an industry. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Councilor Beck?
So,
Yeah, that one leak was fixed. They did have really recently, like I believe last weekend, our water crew noticed a high water usage at Canfor and were able to shut it in really rapidly. So we didn't lose a ton of water, but we lost more than we'd have liked to.
It's known as the Canfor site, but not owned by Canfor, just to be clear, right? Okay. Councilor Beck?
The current owner, it'll be on their tax bill. It's a number of companies, RJS Equipment, where they're resistant to communicating with us. We've reached out to them, but we haven't had any response. I don't know. I know that, like, it's gotten convoluted. We've been told that they're in the process of selling several times. RJS is who originally bought it from Canfor. We've been told the deal's almost done to sell it, and then it seems to still be RJS.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay. On the motion, all those in favor? Any opposed? Yeah. Duly noted. Okay. That passes. Bylaw number 3 on our agenda is the District of Chetwynd sewer fees and charges. Bylaw number 1190, 2026 requires first, second, and third reading. Any discussion? Councilor McDonald?
Can we get the details on the changes for the fees and schedules, fees and charges for that one as well?
Yeah, that one is 3% across the board.
You, Councilor? Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor and opposed? Okay. Committee reports. Any committee reports? Councilor Nelson?
It's a minor thing, but it impacts all of BC except for a portion of the East Kootenays who are on MST instead of PST. So Fernie, Golden, towns like that still have the option to opt in to take away daylight savings time, but EB's announcement today did not include that little swath along the Rockies.
Any other reports? The mayor's report, just reporting from the PRRD. They're in the process of passing the budget for the 2026 season, and the rec center, leisure pool, and Scramble Vision Radio Society budget. They'll be moving forward on in March here to say that we will have a Scramble Vision, and everything at the rec centers will be passed, and that hopefully will be passed on our next meeting at the PRRD. Thank you. Any questions for Councilor Nelson or Mayor? Okay, continue. No discussion items, no correspondence. Do we need a motion to accept reports? Okay.
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, we've got information items. Anything to be pulled? Council? I1 to I6.
Motion to receive I1 to I6.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Reports for action. 2026 Capital Project Report. On Finance. Any discussion?
Thank you.
Councilor Beck?
I understand we have to continue on with capital projects and so on, and we have to find money for that. And the taxpayer is at around, after all taxes are said and done, we're sitting around 41% of the average person's income is going to taxes, whether it be municipal income tax, GST, and it's got to stop for sooner or later, because people are just going to be out of money.
It is important to note that the capital project is not residential tax funded, though. It's primarily grant funded and PRA funding. So it is, everything is tax funded, but these are not projects that are borne by our residential taxpayers. These are taxes that come back to us through provincial funding like the Peace River Agreement. And that's what that money is basically given back to communities for. It's not for operational, it's for capital projects. Failing to do this results in things like the Calgary water main failure that was in every newspaper article for all of summer because it was catastrophic. It is horrible. We do pay more than our share of taxes, but these projects are not part of our problem.
And I understand that it's just that we're shuffling money we're lowering the taxes a bit, adding more to the water for commercial users who are a big driver in this community, and the residents have to pay an increase as well. It's just, could have made my comment on several places. I just picked this one. Whether this comes from the PR, the Peace River Agreement or not, it's still taxes that are coming out of people's pockets is my concern.
Staff, respond, or you're good?
Well, I do understand consequently, and the thing that I tell people with the original is yes, taxpayer money, but it's money that's locked us in one forward, and that will be brought back and the benefit of our people. So these are already tax money spent, but it's coming back for us to bring complete benefit of the people. So for us, it's part of the we need to do so that our infrastructure is as much as people hate taxes, we also hate potholes. That's a big water money. That's a big sewer. And these projects are all defined as necessary for our infrastructure to maintain critical services that are residents rely on. And as a taxpayer, I feel totally understand. Not a worry. It's all good, and I do respect your point of view on it.
Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, reports for information, 2026-2020 draft provisional financial plan. And discussion? Councilor McDonald? So when we look at this, it doesn't look too bright for the future unless we develop a plan for the future for tax base, tax for residential and others, right? So one of the things that council and mayor and staff been working on is the satellite tax on industry. So that's been something we've been working on since 2009. So that would help with the residential part of it, and we've been working on that. So hopefully one time when we do find out that we can control our own tax base and tax at the rate that others are, which we can't right now. So that'll help out in the future. So we should look to the future, and we're working on that part with the ministers. So I know Steve and his predecessor, and probably the one before that, the CAOs, were working on this. So hopefully this year we could find a resolve. Any other questions? Councillor Smith?
Well, we sent a letter that council approved of, and I sent it to pretty much everybody in government in British Columbia, I think. We've gotten acknowledgement that they've received it, that they're working on it, and they hope to have a resolution for us, soon. We were originally told that this would be resolved in April of 2025, and now we've gone a full year past that. And I'm not sure really, why it's taking them so long. Their ministry staff have used reasons like the BCGU strike, the pandemic was one, the provincial election was one, as all delaying factors in resolving this. But they assure us that they are working on it. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I mean, this year, Tumber Ridge on their new tax roll is, for their satellite industry tax, is 7 times what Chetwynd's is, because they don't have a tax cap. So it's, ministry staff have said that this is not sustainable, that in 20 years, our industry base on our tax has dropped from 50% of our tax roll to 22%. We lose between 5 and 8% annually because of depreciation. So we're held at that $18 per 1,000 assessed value, but that even that 1,000 assessed value drops every year with depreciation. So we're, this is not sustainable. Everybody recognizes this is not sustainable. I anticipate that it gets resolved sooner rather than later again, like I would think within the next 6 months, but I've also I'm getting a little cynical with their sense of urgency on it, but we're told that they're working on it.
Just to make sure that we're clear, and the residents of Chetwynd are clear that what is ours, 18 per 1,000, and let's go just Dawson Creek. What is their assessment at?
According to John, Dawson Creek, most communities were in located at Tumber Ridge is the highest one, and we're at 18. So we're best case scenario, we're running around half of the when we had functionality for the town, and we had all of our division that's really small. So just as things like for each of the reason we have about 10% of balance for opposition. Now we're at 20%, so it's in December. 20% is actually allowed for operation budget. And we've chosen to use as a very good message to the industry involved. Communicate with them. but this is one that we're driving at, so it's not. If you look at the communities like Sabre, which is just announced 14% tax increase, which is not down to 50%, that's the result of not maintaining tax increase after service sooner or later. Just tax increases of 50%. And that's because they have increased. We have the tightest ever looked. And we spent a lot of Bristol was the original which doesn't even cover us increases. And by doing that, other responsible tax increase very right at point now, further all these things. But we're maintaining all the service with a very modest increase. And staff incredibly
Nelson?
While I do understand that increasing taxes annually is good business, just out of curiosity, how much money would we have to pull from reserves in order to guarantee a zero tax increase for this year?
General rule of thumb is about $27,000 per 1% residential tax increase. There was last year. It was 26 and change. So, you'd be looking at in the $80,000 or $90,000. But the caveat, of course, with that is reserves are there so that if you have an emergency, you have the money to pay for it without borrowing the money and paying interest on it. So there's always a real strong risk associated with it. Like when you take the money out of reserves to not do a tax increase, you haven't. It's like it's almost like moving the pea around under the little cup. You still have the need to spend that money. You're just taking it from a different pot, and you're giving your residents maybe a little bit of respite this year, but it's always a cost. That 3% is coming out of the residents one way or another, whether it's a reserve or whether it's a modest tax increase. This year's tax increase is $50 and change, I think, per average household. So it's as modest as we can do and maintain services.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. Vote on the motion. All those in favor? And opposed? Okay, carried. And the dates for the public, again, Crystal, just so that...
We'll hold public consultation on March 17th, and I think what I'll do is have public consultation before the council meeting and after the council meeting so that we have a late night option. And then we also have, people can email. This information is out there on the website, so if people have questions, they can email or they can send in their consultation at any time, and then we know for sure we can incorporate that while council still has time to make changes.
Okay. Okay, and all this information where the public could come will be on our website and okay, thank you. There was no new business. At this time, give the public opportunity to ask questions on anything that's on our agenda for today. State your name and address if you have questions on what we had on our agenda. Good. Okay. All those in favor? We are adjourned.